the sun's coming up, riding with lady love, freeway cars and trucks start beginning to fade as a little rain, just wishing I stayed a little longer. Oh Lord, let me tell you, the feeling's getting stronger. Hello. I was playing this song this morning, and I kind of thought that wouldn't it be nice to try out recording my piano and to at the same time make you a, let's say, like a beginner's tutorial of how to play the piano. Some background. So I started playing the piano about 1.5 years ago when I moved to this place, and I got a good deal from the previous owners of this piano because they moved out and they didn't want to move this piano with them because it's way heavy and it couldn't fit the new place. So I got a pretty good deal on it, and it has been bringing me lots and lots of joy for this about 18 months or so. Anyhow, first I had to get it tuned up, and after that it was like, hey, this is pretty nice. So like I said, I didn't know how to play in the beginning, like at all. But I did know some basics about music theory, and I thought that I'd show you a little bit how you can start approaching piano yourself if you are in a similar situation, like you haven't played before, because it's pretty easy to get it to a point like I showed you in the intro. Yeah, so let's get straight to it. And I've got here a mobile phone showing the voicings that I take, how I move my fingers and stuff, and probably I can't look quite a bit at the camera, so it's gonna be a little bit different video. Try to bear with me. Yeah, let's begin. The first order of things is of course identifying all of the notes on the keyboard. And usually we start at the C major because that's the most obvious one. You have all the white keys, none of the black keys. That's it. And if you want to find where the C is, you can see how the layout has been arranged. There are like groups of 3 black keys, and then there are these groups of 2 of black keys, like 3, 2, here's 2, here's 3, here's 3. It repeats itself. It's like 2, 3, 2, 3, and C is, if you find a grouping of 2 and the leftmost white key is the C. And the rest of the notes start in an alphabetical order. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C again. And then it repeats. D, E, F. Yeah, so that's all there is to it. There's nothing like, if you have played guitar, you can find the same note on many places, but here you got to just know the one place and they all look the same. Yeah, so what about the black keys? Or let's just backpedal just a little bit to make a point. it really is just the alphabetical order. When we're starting from the C and it kind of rolls over at G back to A, it's harder to notice, but if we are starting from A, it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's much more apparent what's going on, but also what happens here is that you might have noticed, like if you play starting from C, so that has a major sound, but if you start from an A, it's a minor sound. So that's what they call a relative minor scale, and so you get kind of two scales from the price of one, knowing just the white keys. But the black keys, yes. So if we look at C and D, in the middle of them there's a black key, and if we there's nothing between C and D, but if we want to name this one, we call it either a C sharp, because it's one semitone sharp from C, and sharp means higher, and we could also call it a D flat, because it's one semitone flat from a D, and flat means lower. And the same goes with the rest of one, so you can do like C, C sharp, D, D sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Some theorists are probably shouting at the screen right now, but keep in mind I'm trying to give like really basic information how to start surviving playing on this instrument to a real beginner, and to be honest, I kind of don't know any better myself. So this is useful information if someone asks, why don't you play a B flat? So you can go like, okay, I don't know where that is. You can go like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and flat means one semitone lower. So there it is. Yeah, so that's the gist of it. And what next? That's all fine and good. What about some chords? I'm pretty lazy. Have you noticed that? I have. So I don't want to go around and look at like huge charts of different chords and like try to memorize them. It hurts my head. It's too much work. I'd much rather know what's going on and start building my own voicings. And it's pretty simple, actually. I have to shout out to Ben Levin for teaching me this, but here's the basics. So, by the way, start looking at Ben Levin's channel. That's really awesome. But here's the basics. Let's start from the C again, like C. And the basic thing is that you start going up the major scale, but you skip every other note and you take 3 notes like that. So let's take this one. This is the first. Let's skip the second one. Let's take the third one. It's almost starting to sound like a chord already. And then we skip the fourth one, and the fifth one we take, and we play it. And all 3 together. That's a C major chord, right there. It isn't harder than that. Why memorize it? Because you can just figure it out. Of course, it's a bit slow, but we'll get to that a bit later. Let's try another one. Let's try an F. Okay, F. Skip the second. Take the third. That's an A. Skip the fourth. Take the fifth. That's a C. F major chord. It works. It works. So F A C. That's a F major chord. Let's try one more. Let's start from D. So D, skip the second, take the third, skip the fourth, and take the fifth. Wow! Not only is it very out of tune, but you can also hear that it's a minor chord. And what happens, because it's the second chord in the C major scale, or any major scale, it would be the same. The second chord in that scale would be a minor chord, like major, minor, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. What's that? That's A minor. Then there's a weird chord. I forget the name. I don't play that very often, to be honest. It's a 5 chord or a diminished chord or something like that. And the next one is again a C major. Nice, we get all of the chords in the C major scale. That's useful, that's really useful. But, okay, that's pretty slow also. Let me show you how I progressed. The first song I played was Tom Waits' song All 55. It's in another key, it's a little bit difficult key to be beginning. Let's start something else in the C major scale. Probably, perhaps. At least there are many of the chords are in the scale. Let's take Fannin Street from Tom Waits. There's a crooked street in Houston town. It's a well-worn path I travel down. Now there's ruin in my name. I wish I never got off the train. I wish I listened to the words you say. That's the verse of Fannin Street. Really, really beautiful song. Okay, so let's go through how to start playing it. So I know the first chord is a C major, so I do it again. I take C from starting from here, C, D skipped E, G, D, E, G. Then I add a bass note here. And I also can kind of take the fifth and make a bass line of kind of a country vibe, you know? Or I can do like a little bit what the guitar is doing, like. And that reverb thing is the rightmost pedal, so. Look, no hands. What happens is that brings up a sustain. You can have that also in synthesizers. If you have a sustain pedal, it makes, if you play something, it lets them sustain out without dying. If you don't use it, it instantly dies when you lift your fingers. Yeah. So we were at the C major. Is the next one gonna be an F major chord? Yeah, so one step at a time. F. Okay, this one F, A, C. Crooked. And the next one is gonna be a G. Street in Houston town. And the point here is that when I started learning this song, I had no idea what those chords were. I just started like I looked them up. It's a C major. I can look that up maybe in maybe from the internet or some chord book. And if I don't know that, I just make the voicing myself. And here's some tips also that you can do when you start accompanying. You usually, well, I like to do it like this. This is pretty simple. One of my friends told me that there's one way of comping, and I ran with the idea like really a lot. I use that pretty much. So I make the voicing. I find out then notes like C, E, G, and I take my left hand and do the bass. So when you start forming those chords yourself, so what ends up happening, like my brain is it's a lot smarter than I am. It's a lot more organized than I am. What happens is that when I start making requests, like Mr. Brain, can you please tell me what are the notes on an F major chord? My brain goes like, yeah, I know that it's the every other note in the major scale. So it's gonna be F, A, C. Ta-da! That's your notes. And thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Brain. So the next time I ask for the same chord. Hey, Brain, do you remember what were the notes of the F chord? And my brain starts thinking, like, didn't I tell him just like 10 seconds ago? Didn't I tell him like 100 times already? I better make some notes and so I can find this info easily. And that happens all that happens subconsciously. Your brain starts like bringing new connections and like shortcutting. It doesn't have to calculate each time. It just brings it back from kind of a cache if you're a programmer. So you know what I mean. It just says F, A, C. It doesn't think about it at all anymore. And what's even better is when the brain wants to control my muscles, it's gonna start saying, look, yeah, this dude wants us to play an F major chord. So please, Mr. Thumb, could you please go to that one? It points out that key, and thumb goes there. And index finger, could you please go to press the A key, and the one finger that I forget its name, please go there and press down. And after a while, when my muscles have done that enough times, they start like, that dude, that brain is always micromanaging our work. We're much better at doing this. They don't know at all what is the reality of being a muscle that has to control these things. We are the experts. We know how to control the fingers. So let's agree, Mr. Brain. Next time you want us to play the F chord, just say it. So just say play the F chord, and we're gonna take care of everything. And what happens is that not only your brain doesn't have to think about what's the notes of the F chord, the muscles get short wired too. Like they're like, yeah, yeah. We could do this all day long. And that's basically how I started learning these chords. And every time I got stuck, I just started making the voicing, and things kind of stuck in my head. It took, I want to say, for the first simple songs, it took maybe the whole afternoon. I was, yes, really into it. But the further I got, it started like getting much easier, and the longer you progress, it's gonna be much easier as you go along. The key thing here is that to try and be consistent in your training. If you do like mega training session, I don't know, 8 hours one Saturday and forget for the rest next few months, you're kind of gonna come back at it and say, I don't remember anything at all. But if you do like 15 minutes each day, it's gonna stick much better. So consistency is more important than having really hard-working mega sessions. Yeah. I think that's about all of the tips I have. I've now teach you everything I know about playing piano. And so why did I want to do this? I feel that in some ways this time has had people thinking that if you start playing an instrument, you have to become a virtuoso, you have to dedicate your life to it, and become a professional. What's the point otherwise? And let me tell you, there certainly is a point in learning an instrument, singing and playing and having fun, just for the sake of it. It's really valuable and brings a lot of joy to your life if you give it a chance. Like go for it. It doesn't matter if you're old. You don't need to start from the age 4 and become a virtuoso to have fun. Come on. Just give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? I bet many of you have like pianos laying around and maybe some keyboards or some other instruments. You can get so much joy in your life just by playing it and having fun, and maybe even playing with your friends. So that's kind of the main thought I had behind making this video, and it's becoming somewhat of an idea behind this channel as well, at least for now. Yeah, so I really hope this has been of some use to some of you, and if it has been really boring, I don't know why you watched so far, but if you did, and if you didn't find it boring, if you find it nice, I'm really happy. And anyhow, I really appreciate anyone watching this far. And maybe we'll figure out something next to talk about the next time. So I guess that's it. See you until next time.